Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Charlotte, where our mission is to nurture a deep and mature experience of God through the practice of unity principles. Simply put, we are here to love, grow, and serve. I'm Reverend Pat Dre, and I'm so glad you chose to join us this morning on Zoom or YouTube. So let's start today with our statement of oneness. And that will lead us into our opening prayer. So say with me, there is one presence and one power in my life and the universe. God the Omnipotent. Know that God is omnipresent and is the intelligence that resides within me. It is the very substance from which I was made, and the same substance that nourishes me. I live and move and have my being in this very same place. And I speak my word today to know that I am staying spiritual in stressful times. And breathing in and letting it go, I embrace this fine idea of remaining spiritual because that is who I am. That is the essence of me now and always. And from this place of spirituality, I stay grounded. I control my life, and the spirit that runs through me and expresses through me all the time remains grounded. And this displaces any idea of fear or anxiety. I give the power of my word and my knowing to my health, my wholeness, and my well-being. There is no idea of illness. There is no idea of financial shortfall, for I am prosperous. I know in this place of spiritual practice and spiritual unity what I am for. I am guided and inspired to know the oneness of my life, the oneness of my experiences, and the oneness that underlies my spirituality. The unity of all gives me fresh eyes to see everybody around me as part of the one, and every situation that expresses as part of the one. And from this place, I can relax, knowing that all is well. And no matter what pops up, I go back to that fine, well-grounded spiritual idea of the oneness, and that only good comes from God. Only good comes to me and through me. Only good. That is my experience right now. What is mine to do? I listen to Spirit. Spirit tells me everything that I need to know. And my activism evolves from this place of centeredness, of groundedness, of the spiritual whispers that work in and through me. My alignment with Spirit guides me always. It guides me in truth, it guides me in expression, and it guides me in experience. I know now and always that I am part of the bigger picture, but that's why I came onto this plane. I am an integral part of this big picture. Even if I don't see it all right now, it's expressing, it's evolving, it is happening. And I know that all happens for my individual growth, for the growth of my soul, and for the growth of all the souls around me. There may be the experience or the perception of struggle, but what actually is happening is growth, the evolution of goodness. things happening within me and around me without exception. I know that my experience of life is a God experience, and it's the way of peace, prosperity, and freedom. And this awareness dispels any experience of fear, anxiety, injustice, or separation. I know that my life and my way is the way of health, strength, and vitality. And I take deep breaths knowing gratitude. Gratitude for everything that is happening in my life right now. Gratitude for all the amazing gifts I've been given and all the amazing days that lie ahead. I am so grateful. Over and over in my heart, I say, I am grateful. I know that these words have power and come into my life and my experience. I know it, I believe it, I trust it, and then I release it. And join with me in saying, and so it is, Amen.
So it is, Amen.
Thank you again for being with us this morning, and welcome to all of you that are joining us on Zoom. You know, we have this Zoom link opened a bit before service, and there's a little party that goes on every Sunday morning just before service. It's a great little party, and if you're joining us later on YouTube, join us on Zoom and be part of the party. It is great. We do invite you, if you're joining us on YouTube, to subscribe to our talks, like the Unity of Charlotte YouTube channel, because it helps you and others find us. And we look forward to seeing you in person in the not too distant future. And when we're back together and doing what we do so well here at Unity, we will have our children's program starting again. And so bring your own children, bring your grandchildren. I'll be bringing mine. It's a wonderful experience for them. And if you or anyone you know is in need of prayer, please place a prayer request through our website. We do get many, and we act upon them immediately. We also pray daily for Unity of Charlotte, for our entire congregation. And so the lines are open. Request prayer. If you need help on anything, great, we're here to help you. If your life is going great and you want it to continue, just ask us. We're part of that too. You can also call Unity's telephone prayer ministry, Silent Unity, at any time, day or night. Just dial 800-NOW-PRAY for a personal affirmative prayer. We do have some announcements. We have a number of events that are happening on our, and they're listed on our website. So we have a class, Course in Miracles class and a book club. We also have on next Sunday on July 12th, we have our town hall meeting right after service. So please join us for an update on everything that's happening here at Unity of Charlotte. It'll be a good opportunity for you to know what's going on, know how we are evolving, and know all the things that are planned, happening now and planned for the future. It's my joy and delight today to announce Reverend Sally Robbins as our minister this week. Reverend Sally, so great to have you with us. Thank you.
Anyway, it's great to be here with you all. We're going to start first with our June affirmation of July. We got a new month, don't we? So let me share my screen and we will, Alan, you're going to need to give me the possibility of screen sharing. I can't share my screen right now. There we go. Okay, so here's our July affirmation. So, because my Creator is free, I am free. Let's say this together. Because my Creator is free, I am free. I would never imagine God to be limited or bound by things of time or of this world. As a creation of an unlimited Creator, I know I too must be limitless, just like my Creator. Because my Creator is free, I am free. And so I know that each one of us are experiencing a wonderful July 4th weekend. And freedom is a wonderful topic because freedom in spirit, freedom in our political system here, freedom comes in a wonderful variety of packages. Sometimes freedom is freedom from the emotional baggage that sometimes we take on. And I found a wonderful song that ties in with that and with my talk today. So we're going to start with that. And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go to, this is Bob Sima. He has been a guest at our community, and it's called These Mountains.
First your heart goes cold, then your stare goes long. A fire in your eyes, the burning desire left long ago. You've been living your life for everyone else. Holding the weight of this whole wide world all by yourself. In these mountains that you carry on your back, you are only supposed to climb. You were doing your best, but it was never enough to please the one in your head, scares you half to death, the one that doesn't exist. It's only up in your mind, the one that drains your cup and always puts you back at the end of the line. These mountains that you carry on your back, you were only supposed to climb.
Wow, isn't that a fabulous mantra to take with us? These mountains that we carry on our back, we're only supposed to climb. Oh my goodness, I think that those lyrics are very, very powerful. Hopefully we can have Bob Simon back to Unity of Charlotte sometime in the future. That's on his new CD. You can go to bobsimon.com if you have interest in that. So my topic today is called Everyone is a Teacher. And as I was writing this talk, I was standing in the grocery line, and there was a woman. You know how when you get up to the grocery, you're like, okay, which aisle is going to get me through quickest? All of us do that. We make that like mental scan and judgment trying to figure out which line will get us through the quickest. So I found what I thought was the quickest. And the woman right in front of me says, as she's watching things being scanned, she sees something comes up as $1. And she says, that's 99 cents. And the clerk said, ma'am, I'm sorry, it's 10 for $10. It's $1. She said, no, it's 99 cents. That's what the sign said. It was 99 cents. They start into a heated discussion about whether it's 99 cents or $1. Now, my blood pressure starts to rise as this is going on, and I'm thinking, my goodness, why are we arguing over 1 penny? And then I remembered that my topic is everyone is a teacher. And I thought, what can I learn from this woman? What can I learn from this? And it gave me a shift in perspective right away, because patience has never been my strong suit. So I got to really reflect how everything and everyone in my world is an opportunity for me to be taught, if I'm teachable, and an opportunity for me to grow through those experiences and through those interactions, through those relationships. Everyone is a teacher, including the woman in the checkout line that is driving me crazy. And I get to take a look at that because it's my reaction. It's my reaction to things that really is the crux of what I'm talking about here. My spiritual growth is not dependent upon anything or anyone. What I take from the experiences and those interactions, that's the fruit. That's the richness of what I can take a look at and go, wow, that really taught me a lesson there. That taught me that I don't have to hurry through the grocery line. What if my grocery line was a meditation? What if my grocery line was an opportunity to stop and pause and be grateful that I have the opportunity to buy these groceries, and some people do not? So this was a wonderful experience on my way to creating this lesson this week. I love how Spirit is always dropping things into my life and going, you want to learn about that? That's what we'll deliver this week. And that leads us to that old adage, be careful what you pray for. Because when you make an intention, when you set an intention through a prayer, through a mantra, through just saying, this is what I want to do in my life, this is who I want to be, you will be given the opportunity to learn if you know it. Because there's a difference between knowing it and being it. Being it means that I get to practice it. I actually get to do it. I don't just think about it. So everyone is my teacher, and I get to experience that until I know that I know it. That's what we're talking about this morning. So everyone is a teacher. Let me share my screen again. And I'm going to show you the slide that we're moving through, because I have a great, here we go. So everyone is a teacher. Let me go to the full screen here so you can see that. And so the Hindus actually have a word for this, and that word is upaguru. Upaguru. And what that actually means is that upaguru, it actually means the teacher that is next to you at any moment. So the Hindus believe that your teachers are all around you at all times. Your teachers can be in the form of family, it can be in the form of coworkers, it can be in the form of the grocery line, it can be anywhere. So the teacher that is next to you at any moment, that is a very profound perspective to take, because that means that I can learn from anyone, and that if I am truly teachable, that I can garner a lesson from any person, any place, any time. So let's look at this word, upaguru. So the word guru, some may see guru as like, that's the supreme expert, that's the one that knows all, that I can mentor me, that I can learn from. But broken down, the word actually means, and I love this, going from darkness into light. Isn't that great? Guru means from going from darkness into light. And that what we now associate, that the Americanized version of this word means this elevated consciousness, conscious person who can lead us from the darkness to the light. But the word itself means from the darkness to the light. So the guru leads you from the unknowing and helps you into the light, the knowing, the knowledge. So some of our upagurus are in our lives forever. Some just maybe a fleeting moment. It doesn't really matter. But the teacher that is next to you, is always teaching something if we are open and available to receive that. Some of you are probably already thinking, who is teaching me at the moment? And I can guarantee you there's probably a really good chance that that lesson that you're learning from them is not comfortable. It isn't comfortable. And just because the guru next to you is a little less than comforting, doesn't mean that we won't get the same lesson. Sometimes our lessons come deeper from the discomfort that is created in the situation. Elizabeth Goodman writes, sometimes we meet a stranger just for a moment, but the stranger in that moment exhibits such grace that the stranger is one of our teachers for life. It is by being open and spacious that we get the opportunity to recognize those who have just one perfect teaching for us. Maybe that's coming to you through a child or a grandchild. Maybe that's coming to you from someone that you never would have expected. But see, when we're closed off, we miss our teachers. We miss those lessons, those golden nuggets of wisdom that would have otherwise made a great impact on our lives. That's what I want us to focus on this morning. How can I be more open, as Elizabeth Goodman says, how can I be more open and spacious, knowing that I don't know everything, and I am an empty vessel just waiting to be filled, and that Spirit is always providing me with just the right information at the right moment. I trust that. I trust that. So I know that each of us is moving into a place of deepening. If you're on this Zoom call, if you're watching this video later, you have taken on some form of contract with the universe where you've said, I'm here to be an enlightened being. I'm here to elevate my spiritual consciousness in whatever manner I can. And so because we have stated that intention, we are opening ourselves up to that greater good, to the possibility of I can learn from someone, I can learn from anyone in my world. One of my former teachers, when I took formal ministerial training, had a special word for this. She called these people her master teachers, and one of them was her mother. And she had had a very difficult relationship with her mother her entire life. And it wasn't until much later in life, she was well into her 60s, that she decided that her mother could be her master teacher. Her mother had not changed at all, was still difficult to deal with, and still there wasn't even a closeness at all between the two. But my teacher's decision that she would allow her mother to be her master teacher, she still had good boundaries, but she just changed her perspective about what it meant that she could learn from this experience that nothing in this creation is an accident, and that every relationship, every experience that comes into our lives is there for some purpose. I trust that. Do you? I absolutely know that spirit is not a random thing. This is not a random universe. Everything that comes and flows and goes in and out of my life is there by divine pattern, by divine reason. And so it is up to me to be open enough to figure out, how am I going to glean from this experience, take from this relationship, even if it's incredibly difficult? How am I going to take from that the very best of that, so that I can then incorporate and integrate that into my spiritual advancement, so that I can be the epitome of love and compassion despite what this other being may be doing? This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we get to honor that we are here on divine purpose, and so is every other being in our life, whether they're there for a moment or a lifetime. I find that this is one of the most difficult opportunities that I face for growth, because I resist sometimes, and maybe you do too. I resist when things come at me that aren't the way that I would prefer them to be. I would prefer every relationship to be kind and loving and compassionate and truthful and honest and integrity and transparent. And yet that's just not the case. That's not the case. Not everyone lives up to that ideal. Not everyone even has the capacity for that ideal. And so you and I have made some sort of contract with ourselves and with every person who is in our lives. And the only thing that we have to live up to is our end of the contract. Let me be really clear about that. Our end of the contract says that we show up as love, that we show up as compassion, that we show up as understanding and kindness. And if that is not returned, if in fact sometimes we're harmed in some way, and all of us have been in that position where we've put our best out and in return we've received harm, if that's the case, then we've done our part. It doesn't matter what the other one has done, because I truly do believe in the law of cause and effect, also known as the law of karma, that what we put out is what we get back. So I don't need to worry about what someone else has done. I take care of my side of the street. I take care of this. This being called Sally is all I'm responsible for. And if someone sees me mistakes my kindness for weakness, then I will have to put a very firm boundary there as to what is and is not acceptable in my life, and sometimes even leave from that relationship. We're always at choice. We're always at choice. And yet everyone is still my teacher. Everyone. Even when I've said, you know what, I'm done. I am done, and I walk away from that. Maybe there's still something that I can learn from that. I'm going to address that in just a little bit. I was in maybe first or second grade. I can't remember how young I was. It was fairly young. And the elementary school that I went to, like most elementary schools, we had recess. And so in the recess, I don't even remember when it started or how it started, a bully, a larger boy, started picking on me. And he was really vicious. And I was frightened by that. And so I would go and stand next to the teacher who was monitoring the playground. And I would stand next to her so he wouldn't bother me. And she looked down and she's like, okay, you can stand here. And I'm sure she wondered why I was standing next to her. And that continued for several days. I can't even remember how long I just know that became a pattern. That as soon as I went into the playground, I went and stood next to the teacher. I didn't interact with the kids because I was afraid of that bully. One day, I got fed up with that. And I decided, you know what? I'm standing my ground. And I don't even recall what I did. I just know that that problem disappeared. He didn't bother me ever again. And maybe just the fact that I decided I wasn't going to be bullied was all that it took. But I've realized now that people, even bullies that come into our lives, even people that have harmed us in some way, have come into our lives to allow us to rise to a new level of being. That bully simply allowed me to rise into a level of self-empowerment. I took back my power. I wasn't going to be in fear any longer. And so thank you, whoever you were, that boy. I have no idea what he looked like or what his name was. That is long gone out of my memory. And I really do honor that contract that I had with him, that I was able to rise to that next level and let him know that I wasn't going to be bullied anymore, and that I stepped into a new level of empowerment. And that courage is what allows us each time to step into the newness. It takes courage to be on this path. It takes courage to live a life of cause and effect, knowing that even if I put out love and it's not returned, I've done my part, because it makes you vulnerable. And it's hard to do sometimes. Been there, done that, still doing it. And yet, that is the only way I want to ever live, because that is incumbent upon me to be the very best Sally as God, showing up in every portion of my life. I'm going to share the screen again. So, Hazrat Inayat says, God breaks the heart again and again and again until it stays open. Until it stays open. So, I know that every time I've had my heart broken, and no one likes going through that experience, what that really was doing for me was allowing me to break that shell that thought that I had it all under control, and move into a place of vulnerability and transparency that actually broadened my horizons of who I am as a being, which allowed me to be a greater force for good in this world. That's the power I'm talking about. These are transformative ideas. If we do them, at the end of every service, we say, it works if you work it. And so you and I know that it only works if we work this program, if we work the inner work of ourselves. That's what we're here to do. And change is our teacher. Right now, we're going through immense change. COVID-19, George Floyd, and the whole Black Lives Matter, thankfully, is shifting us from decades and hundreds of years of old thinking, and moving us into a new paradigm that sees all as equal, all as free, not just a few, not just the privileged, but all. This change is our teacher. And so sometimes the teacher is not a thing or a person, it's a concept. It's a concept that says, you've got to think differently now. And I know that many times I've resisted even that. I'm not happy with how the COVID-19, I'm not happy with having to sit in my apartment and not having the interaction. I'm an extrovert. Trust me, I miss you guys. I want to be out there hugging you every Sunday. I miss that desperately. I'm sure many of you do too. And yet, that's what we're facing right now. So we do what we can with what we have, and we learn from it. We grow from it. Change in our bodies, change in our lives, change in our relationships. It's all there. It's all there to teach us. And we naively think sometimes that life is supposed to be static and never change. Where did I get that idea? That's certainly, the only certainty is that change is always going to be on the horizon. That's the only certainty we have. So am I willing to always be a student? Am I willing always to be teachable? That's the crux of this. Mark Nepo, who wrote The Exquisite Risk, Daring to Live an Authentic Life, writes about how cancer was even his teacher. Cancer. When he was going through his cancer treatments, this was a major change in his life. He hadn't counted on this. And he talks about in this book how he was preparing for his second round of chemo. And he was given Ativan. He said this drug creates short-term amnesia. He knew that going in, and so they gave him the Ativan, and he had the round of chemo. His first round of chemo treatment had been very difficult, and so that's why they gave him the Ativan. And so he fortunately got through that second round of chemo with fewer difficulties. But he said within weeks after being given that Ativan and going through that chemo treatment, he said all sorts of tickets arrived in the mail to concerts, Broadway shows, and most curious, 6 round-trip tickets to St. Martin in the Caribbean. While left alone, he said, I had called and charged all these things to our credit card. He said, I still have no memory of this. He said, but the lasting lesson is that reduced to now, some deeper part of me began to live, holding nothing back. It is a moment that changed my life, he said. And through that deeper part, he said, I began to see that we are delivered all these gifts. The student was ready, and he learned it. He says, until we are honed by experience into something more and more vulnerable and beautiful. Even the short-term amnesia that caused that was a gift. That was a teacher to him. And the cancer itself was teaching him, you better be just so grateful for every moment you have on this planet. He allowed the cancer to be his teacher. He says, I returned everything but the tickets to St. Martin. I replaced them near the candle by my bed and vowed that if I lived through this, my loved ones and I would go. And I did. He was able to learn that there was so much more than met the eye, even with his cancer experience. He is now fine, and things have moved into a whole different realm for him. He allowed himself to grow through that experience. Balzac says, we are here to live out loud. Out loud. And so that's why I think that many times when I have resisted the teacher that has shown up in my life, be it a difficult person or an obstacle that I see to something that I want in my life, even if that's my health, I have to embrace that. I have to know that it too is teaching me. It too is allowing me to move into a new realm of understanding and compassion and being. And then we have teachers of heartbreak and betrayal. Many of us have experienced that. How can we reconcile that when others have let us down? Sometimes repeatedly, sometimes way more than once or twice. How do we handle that? Even this opens us up to be something more. There's a wonderful Catherine Ponder story. Catherine Ponder, the longtime Unity minister in Palm Springs. She says, after a friend and I began to declare together the following forgiveness statements, I had a dream in which appeared a young husband who had deserted me more than 60 years ago, leaving me with our children to support and raise alone. I can only assume he appeared after all these years because of our forgiveness statements. He looked young and with the happy disposition I remembered. He was even wearing some of the clothes of that era. Apparently, he felt freed and released by our statements of forgiveness and release. And I'm going to read what these are the statements that Catherine Ponder used. All that has offended me, I forgive. Within and without, I forgive. Things past, things present, and things future, I forgive. I forgive everything that can possibly need forgiveness of the past or present. I forgive positively everyone. I am free and they are free too. All things are cleared up between us now and forever. And so what that did was it showed her that even statements in the present can release the hardness of unforgiveness of the past, even if that person isn't around any longer. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to be repeating that statement because I know that there's still places in my heart that need to be opened up for forgiveness, that need to be opened up to the possibility that the teacher that somehow wronged me in the past was a blessing, because it is now moving me where I now have the capacity to forgive and to see the benefit of that. I can, and so can you. So, what can we do with our heartache? What can we do with betrayal? A friend of mine approached me. He worked with me in the same workspace. This was 15 years ago. And he said to me, you know, the department, he worked in a very different department, and he said, it's just awful there. He said that my boss is terrible and the coworkers, and he just was having a miserable experience. And he was asking me, you know, should I quit? And I said, I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that. But what I can ask you is, what if you were there in that department, that specific place of work, simply to be the light? What if you were the light in that department, and that your mission, your contract with the universe was to simply show up and be the light? And he went, oh. He went back to his department, and from that new perspective, that it didn't really matter what other people did, he was there simply to be the light. Everything started to change. Everything. And I know that that can happen for all of us if we simply step back and say, what if I could see this differently? What if I could see that this was teaching me? What if I could see that there was something deeper here that I haven't gotten to, that I haven't integrated into my being? Those are powerful questions to ask ourselves. It takes great strength to be vulnerable and allow others to teach us. The word sincere actually is a wonderful example of that. Back in the day, back in the Middle Ages, back around the time of Christ, when pottery was being made, if a pottery piece was broken and the potter wanted to salvage it somehow, he or she would take wax and put it where the crack was, and then fire it again just enough, and then paint over it so that the buyer would never know that it was really a weak pot, because wax was now in that, but it had been painted over. It wasn't a complete pot. So the word sincere actually means without. Sin is without, and sear is wax, without wax. And so that became the symbol, the word that potters used. They said it is sincere because there is no wax in this. It is a complete pot. You're not buying a cracked pot that has been fixed. I love that analogy, that when we are showing up as true and authentic, without wax, without something glossing over, painted over so that we look good, but underneath we're really kind of sketchy, can we really be sincere? Can we really be authentic, honest, in integrity with ourselves and with others, knowing that we're always being taught and that someone is always teaching us if we simply are available for that teaching? I'm going to read to you a wonderful, you might have heard this before. It actually was made into a song by Martina McBride, but this is the poem that Kent Keith wrote. It's called Anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of being selfish and having ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Anyway, do our best anyway. Do good anyway. And nature is one of our greatest teachers. I'm going to show a few slides as I close here and give us the opportunity to see that when nature is showing up, it's showing up in all its glory to be a fantastic teacher to us. So this is a tree that fell over. You see the root ball there on the right side of that picture? And that root ball is clearly dead. And it's clearly, you know, the tree itself is not living anymore. Oh, it went back. Why? No, I don't want that. And what you saw there, and I'll pull that picture up again. What you saw there was that four trees came out of that. So let me go back to my share. Okay. Do you see those four trees? Four trees came out of the dead tree lying there with its roots exposed, nothing there. Even when supposedly there is nothing there, this tree has moved on. This tree has created life where there wasn't life before. Here's a tree that fell down. You see it curved down and then whoop, nope, there was life and it started to curve all the way back up again. We've all seen pictures of trees growing out of rocks. I love this one though. It's so beautiful. But I've never seen anything like this. A tree growing out of a stop sign. Now that pole right there, here's the picture, the close-up of it. That's the tree trunk in the stop sign pole or the speed limit pole. It's amazing that a tree could grow in that, and yet it is. Here we have a tree growing out of a third-story window where it should not be growing. And now we have a tree on the right side where the roots long ago lost there was no nourishment up here, so it just grew its roots all the way down to the brush down at the bottom of this cliff. In the middle of the water, we see this tree growing just beautifully. And here's my favorite, a tree that clearly was felled, that someone cut it down. You see it was chopped down. And yet out of that stump grew a tree. Out of that stump, it said, you know what, I guess still got life in me here. I'm going to show up and be a tree. And last but not least, this is in Mount Olympia, Washington. It's called the Tree of Life. This tree lost all of the ground that the roots were in, and yet it held on to the two sides there on the shoreline where there's nothing really there, you would think, to support it, and yet it's still beautiful and still grows. So these trees have learned that everything, including the obstacle in the way, is the teacher. And I know that if you and I have that same perspective, if you and I show up with that idea that everything and everyone in our life is a teacher, we too can grow where it looks like it's almost impossible to grow. It's almost impossible to be that which we're here to be. And yet we can do it. And so I know that divine pattern in me that is showing up and saying, I'm open and available to be taught, to grow, to learn that there is so much in this beautiful, wonderful universe that is supporting me and growing me to a whole new level of awareness and consciousness. That's the place I want to be. That's true freedom. In this 4th of July weekend, where we're celebrating our nation's freedom. Let's celebrate our own freedom to be that which we came here to be. And as Bob Simon said, these mountains are meant to be climbed, not put on our backs. We let go of the unforgiveness. We let go of all that has chained and bound us before and move into a new place of freedom, of choice, and of being love to all in our world. So let's take that into prayer as we close. As I'll take a deep breath. We've processed a lot this morning. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Father, Mother, God, I'm just so grateful for the knowledge that we are incredible spiritual beings having a human experience. And that this morning something has cracked us open wide in the awareness that we are so much more than we think we are. And I know that in this moment we are choosing to look past any obstacles, including unforgiveness, including difficulties, including whatever challenges might be showing up in our lives at this moment. I see beyond that with my spiritual eyes to the truth of who I am. That I am God embodied as Sally, and that I simply show up as that God being that I am in each and every circumstance in my life. It doesn't matter the challenge. It doesn't matter the difficult relationship I might be facing. It doesn't matter the difficult relationship that I thought had ended years ago that I have yet to forgive. I now see with this new pair of eyes, and I state firmly and clearly that I am here to be a light, that I am here to be the embodiment of all the God qualities that I choose to be. And that means that I must move from an old paradigm that says I was less than and accept the new, that there is no boundary that is binding me. There is no chain that is holding me back, that I am free of anything that I thought might have been separating me from my good. I know that is no longer the truth. The truth is nothing and no thing comes between me and my good and my God. And so I bless all of those who have joined us this morning and who join us via the video watching later. Anyone within the power of my voice, I know and declare for them that they too are free, that there is nothing holding them back from their good. And so I simply allow Spirit to have its way with us this morning, knowing that we leave this service changed beings, changed forever. There is no going back. And that opening, that awakening that is happening is now integrating into our daily lives, that we are free, we are a choice, we are here to be that which we came to be. And so I bless our time together this morning, and I simply allow Spirit to have its way with each and every one of us, knowing that as we say yes to all that is, life is opening up to the degree to which we are opening up. And so we simply say thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for these lessons, for this understanding, for this concept that is allowing us to see life in a whole new and wonderful way. We simply let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Take another deep breath in. And let it be so. So let me go back to sharing the screen, and we'll go back to we're now moving into time of allowing this to chance for us to complete that circle we have now received. And if you feel so moved, we would love to know that you are supporting the work that we are doing here in North Carolina, because of course now through the digital age we are going so much farther than Charlotte, North Carolina. Anyone in the world can watch us, and they do. They're watching us from all over the world. And so I know that you are a part of that, whether you are simply offering us your blessing or you are offering us a financial. We're grateful for all that you do to make Unity of Charlotte what it is. We invite you, if you would like to contribute, You can either go to our website listed there on the screen, unityofcharlotte.org. There's a place that says donate, and you can just click on that. It's a very safe, easy way for you to support this work. Or you can send a check to the address there listed on Arrowwood Road. You can find all of that on our website even after this service ends. So we know that you are blessed in your giving as well. So let's say our prosperity blessing together. Joyously, I give this gift, knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. So we thank you. We thank you for joining us today. Again, you can check us out on our website, on Facebook. You can find us as well at facebook.com/unityofcharlotte. All kinds of great information there. We have meetings going on. We have book study. There's all kinds of things. So check us out. We would love to add your consciousness to what we are doing here. We are changing this world one moment at a time by changing ourselves. Thank you all for being here today. I love you all, and we'll see you again next week. God bless.
Thank you so much.